Thank you, everybody, for joining me on my channel. My name is Fem, and we are getting back into Ambition, a Minuet in Power. Let us continue on with our dear Yvette. Yes, that's her name, Yvette. All right, so we can explore or we could rest. I'm trying to figure out how to rest. There has to be a way to do it because we need rest for that. So we could explore Paris, but I think there is a way to rest. Oh, right here's home. My butt did not see that. There are events, and I do want to try all these events, but anyways, we are going to actually spend time at home because we are rather exhausted. So, yes, spend the day resting at home. This will remove all levels of exhaustion. If you have any, yes, please, we need to. You decide to take the day off and spend some time at home resting and recuperating. After spending the day in taking care of yourself and doing some light reading, you finally feel recharged. The exhaustion that had been affecting you before has passed. You no longer have any levels of exhaustion. Yes. With that complete, you turn your focus upon the other matters that demand your attention. 28 Mars, 1789. The next morning, you find a letter on your nightstand. Camille must have brought it in while you were still asleep. It's sealed in blue wax with the initials T.D. Opening it up, you find a letter from Alex, written with a precise penmanship that makes you think of expensive tutors, diligent practice, and military discipline. Oh, right, Alex! Sherry Yvette, I'm truly glad that I was fortunate enough to meet you all those nights ago. However, I cannot stand that it came at the cost of such injustice being committed against you by the treacherous Viscountess Dufour. To that end, I've spent the last few days gathering intelligence, and believe that I have found something that you will find quite interesting. Alex goes on to describe a particular fountain deep in the city. He'd like to meet you in secret, as he's worried about someone intercepting the letter. Is your enemy really that powerful? We have a really good ally in Alex. Yay! Alex's clue is now available to visit in the Paris map. Yay! Please meet me there as soon as you can, and I will share what I know. Très cordiales salutations, Alex. I am probably butchering that French because, again, I haven't had French since high school, and I'm 40 now, so using your map, it doesn't take long to figure out where this particular fountain is. In fact, you could visit today if you like. Are we going to visit it today? All right. Military. This does give me military, so I think yes. I think we are. Yes. Yes, we are. Let's do it. All right. Providing for the poor. What does this say? Pach Moncourt. Okay. The fountain is not there. Cafe Alex's clue. This one says Jardin des Plantes. Relax and promenade with your liaison in this rendezvous location. These popular gardens are the ideal place to unwind and engage in a little people watching. Oh yeah, that's home. This is the event, so let us go to Alex's. Because there is this one, providing for the poor. A lovesick priest you might know is trying to raise money for the less fortunate. However, that is proving to be much harder than it sounds. Because it could give you a favor and everything, but I'm actually going to go to Alex's thing because he just sent that to us. You know, Alex has invited you to meet him here so that you might discuss what he's learned while researching your hated foe, Viscountess Marseille de Foix. Let's go. You leave the house earlier than usual that morning, uncertain of how long it'll take you to walk to the fountain that Alex mentioned in his letter to you. Given that you're still new to skullduggery, you decided to dress in darker clothes and stuck to comfortable walking shoes. Surprising enough, you managed to find the fountain without getting turned around. It seems like the perfect place for a meeting like this. There's just enough people wandering around that you won't draw attention, but also few enough that you'll be able to find somewhere secluded to talk. Looking around, you can't spot Alex anywhere, so you decide to take a seat at the edge of the fountain. It makes sense to be visible enough that he'll be able to find you without any flashy waving or signaling. You get comfortable, smooth out your skirts, and pause for a moment to reflect on the decisions that led you to a point in your life where you're having a secret rendezvous with a member of the Queen's Dragoons to learn more about your hated enemies. If anything, they must have been good decisions. Not long after you settled in, Alex appears from around a corner and strides up to you. The uniform draws some attention, but people seem to make an effort of getting out of his way, so it must be useful for something. Bonjour, madame, he calls out pleasantly. My sincerest apologies for being late. Should we stay here or discuss this somewhere in private? Um, let's go somewhere more private, away from prying eyes. Magnifique. I know a reputable public house nearby that's always empty in the middle of the day. We'll discuss things further there. Favor up. Woohoo! Alex leads you to the public house, and you take a seat with him. The barmaid seems to recognize him and brings over some wine and 2 glasses. Don't worry, I'll cover the cost of the wine, he assures you with a wave. I take it that you've read my letter, so you know how much I regret what happened to you that night. I've been to some of Marseille's parties before, so I always knew that she could be vindictive, but this, even the thought of it still makes my blood boil. So, seeing a chance to correct a good injustice, I reached out to some friends around the city in order to gather intelligence. Everyone has a weakness, after all. However, the moment I started digging deeper, something struck me as odd. She claims that her storied family fortune comes from a series of wise investments, so I visited some of her family's known business partners. They were suspicious at first, but when I used my father's last name, they would often open up to me. Among all the people I visited, I couldn't find evidence that any of her family's investments were older than 30 years or so. Ooh. To an aristocratic family, 30 years isn't a storied fortune. It's extremely recent. So she's a new one. Yes, there's some prestige to be had in a sense of legacy, but nothing worth outright lying about. Why would Marseille's family pretend their fortune is older than it really is? Marseille's weakness is somehow related to her family's money. Attack that, and justice will be yours. Ooh. Very good. What's our next step? I must say, I'm shocked that a man of honor like yourself is getting mixed up in all this. I kind of am agreeing with that, but I kind of don't know what his next step is. He did say it was injustice, so I'm I'm guessing this he's not going to answer. So let's just do this one. Unfortunately, madam, I have no next step. While my position grants me its fair share of privileges, it also means I can't go much further than providing you with information. If I was caught actually helping you exact your revenge, it would reflect very poorly on the royal family. Facts. No matter how justified that vengeance might be. Besides, I've been in a similar situation. See, I knew it. Of course, back then, I never had anyone to help me. If I can make it so that nobody ever faces such misfortunes alone again, I will have changed the world for the better. If you were going to move against her, the best time to do so would be on April 24th, the night of her birthday masquerade. It's where she'll be at her most public, which will make her vulnerable to any damaging revelations about her personal fortune. Of course, for that, you'll need both evidences and an invitation. Without strong evidence, it would be just your word against hers. As a commoner, there's no way you could win such a contest. Alex pauses to leave some coins on the table for the wine. While you don't seem the sort to give up easily, I wanted to make sure you understood the difficulty of the task ahead of you. Alex stands and gives you a theatrical bow. Au revoir, madame. With that, he turns and leaves. You stop to think about this new information. Marseille is a wealthy aristocrat, but her fortune appears to be younger than she claims. Seems like this knowledge could be useful, but you'll have to dig deeper first. Researching Marseille is now available to visit in the Paris map. With that, you start to head home, already planning your next move against your sworn enemy. If you're going to bring Marseille to ruin, you'll have to be ready by April 24th. 29 Mars, 1789. We have time. Oh my gosh, guys, stop. You wake up to the sound of someone knocking on your door downstairs. Before you can even get up, you hear Camille calling out, I'll get it. You wake up to the sound of someone knocking on your door downstairs. Before you can even get up, you hear Camille cheerily call out, I'll get it. When she answers the door, you hear her spend a minute talking with a man whose harsh voice you don't recognize. When their conversation finishes, Camille heads up to your room. Madame, we need to talk about the rent and my wages. Ooh, crap. What would you like me to do? Do we have to? Who's at the door? What would you like me to do? Well, the grumpy man downstairs was our landlord. While we paid up on our recent through to rent through the week, will not be. Will need to be. Will, we'll need to make sure there's enough for next week. My voice again. while we well, we didn't need to pay him this week, but next week we need to have 35 levers for rent and 5 levers for my wages, or we could be in trouble. You will need to pay both your rent and the wages of your servants every week, or deal with damage to your credibility, or perhaps even peril. Groovy. Is there anything else, madame? So it was five, something like that? Yes. Why exactly am I paying 5 livres a week? I'm paying you? Oh, no, that's kind of mean. No, Camille. Just breakfast will be fine. As that Camille heads downstairs to make you breakfast, and you're left to wonder how you'll take care of this. Yeah, because we know someone who's not taking care of it. Jeez. Okay, so this is this event. Okay, so it is for that. We're probably gonna have to go with this one again because it has no, it doesn't have bourgeoisie. It doesn't have any. Guess we'll have to go with this, which has none. But go to the party. As your carriage nears the party, you consider taking one last moment to assess your preparations. I already did preparations. It's just going to bring me back to that stuff. So, you brush off the notion and step down out of your carriage. You already know what rumors to listen for and what advantages you already have at your disposal. Your level of restedness has not altered your credibility, your choice of outfit has not altered it, and you have gained a piece of cheap bourgeoisie gossip. A servant checks your invitation, and everything seems to be in order. Not to and enter the party. I can't afford 10 livres right now. She curtsies to you as you pass her by and enter the party. Why are they still popping up? I will deal with that later. Now, let the games begin. So we have this one. Turnabout is fair play. A libertine gentleman has need of your skills in order to exact a devastating plot to avenge a petty slight. Interesting. An urgent message. A messenger has arrived at the door bearing pressing information. This scandalous news might be worth quite a bit if one were to obtain it. Ooh, outrageous ground gossip. Some simple advice. In the vestibule, you hear some strange noises emanating from a coat closet. Now, whatever could that be? And then this one is a wealthy widow. You come across a commanding but sumptuously dressed woman who is standing apart from the other guests. They seem to regard her with some respect, yet there is a wariness in the way they look at her. Honorate. I kind of want the gossip, but I also want another ally. We just got some gossip. Not a lot. Not a fair amount. I think we have a decent. Yeah, I'm gonna go for her just to see how this goes. You're taking a moment to yourself, listening to the party's exquisite string quartet when you notice something odd. An elegant woman in black is standing off to the side of the party by herself. Her presence is obvious, and while nothing about her seems outwardly wrong, you can see that the other guests are making an effort to avoid her. Wonder why. You scrutinize the other guests, their darting glances and concealed whispers. Someone attempts to approach her, but suddenly thinks better of it. Are they intimidated by her? Perfect. You shrug and take a healthy sip of wine. After all, this all sounds to you like an absolutely perfect reason to go talk to someone, right? That's what I thought. However, just as you start walking towards her, she stares at you with a surprising intensity. Ooh, I like her even more now. Like she's studying you. Feeling a little unnerved, you're starting to understand where all this intimidation business is coming from. But you can't stop now. You must find out. She cuts you off right as you're about to introduce yourself. And who might you be? My name is Yvette Ducot, madam. I'd rather know who you were first. Just another party guest who's wondering why you're all alone. I'm going to go with introducing myself. Ah, marvelous. It's nice to meet someone equal parts straightforward and adorable. You've gained favor with Madame Gazelle. Yay! Gazelle, nice. My name is Honorad Gazelle, but you may simply call me Honorad. I'm glad you came over. I was starting to grow bored, and life is too frightfully short to allow for such a thing. Though I wonder what inspired you to come speak with me. I was growing bored too and was hoping you could fix it. You stood out from the crowd. I find it intriguing. The other guests are afraid of you. Found that intriguing and wanted to learn why. Walk directly into the spider's web, have we? Exactly! Kind of, she says with a wicked smile. I like your adventurousness, but be careful, it might get you hurt. You've gained favor. Yay! Of course, I can't blame the other guests for not speaking with me. After all, most of them have never seen me before. You see, I tend to prefer more intimate gatherings, she explains. My husband attended these parties in my stead. Of course, that's no longer possible, but we all have our obligations. She sighs and sips her water. However, obligations are tiresome conversation. I'd rather speak of passion. What are your passions, Yvette? What drives you? I want what I deserve, and I'll do anything to get it. Passion itself is what drives me. I want excitement. I want to feel. To be honest, I'm just here because I wanted to get away from home. No. Which one do we want? I want what I deserve, and I'll do anything to get it. Passion itself is what drives me. I want excitement. I want to feel. Ah, you are a woman after my own heart. A love of feeling is such a rare trait in the so-called age of reason. Yay! I'm really giving her the best answers. Those are the ones I want to do. I wouldn't do it in real life, but it's like kind of what I want her Yvette to do. Far too many people are caught up in a world of numbers, theories, and treaties. All the grandest ideas in the world mean nothing without a life well lived. Conversation continues for quite a while. It's delightful, romantic, and edgy. It's almost theatrical in its over-the-topness, but you get the feeling that's just how Honorad is. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice a man in the livery of a servant wearing a small black armband, trying to politely get Honorad's attention. He seems to be having quite a difficult time pulling her attention away from you. We caught her undivided attention. Yay! Eventually, she notices him. Ah, that's my servant Renee. I'm sorry, Yvette, but I'm needed elsewhere. Before I go, would you mind doing me a favor? When we first met, I introduced myself as Honorad, she says with a devilish smile. I think that I'd prefer you to call me Madame Gazelle from now on. Could you do that for me? Sure. I'm not going to ask why. I'm just going to leave it. It would be cool to know, but I'm just going to leave it. Marvelous, she replies. Thank you for indulging me, Yvette. I hope to see you again soon. Then, in a dramatic swirl of black taffeta, she turns and leaves. She was gorgeous. I love her. I love her. She's so eccentric. I love it. It's far more intriguing than I expected. Hopefully, I'll be able to see more of her. Interesting, but I don't know yet what to make of her. I'm intrigued. Very intrigued. You take a moment to get your bearings before you move on to the rest of the party. All the same, you can't quite get this woman out of your head. I love her. She's so... Ooh, she's over here now. Madame Gazelle is speaking to some woman named Joanna. Something about seeing those two together is putting you on edge. Mm-hmm. One up here. Why is there a woman here who looks so much like you? Wait, what? Really? Intriguing. I do want gossip because I need to sell it. Hunting party. You notice a woman approaching you and you sense some sort of amorous intent from her, but something about the whole situation feels off. Something scandalous to be sure, but you're not certain if you want to be so close to it. It's only cheap now. I don't want that now. What's this one? A small wager. Games of chance might be illegal, but that doesn't mean they aren't widely enjoyed. After all, if the chance to win or lose great fortune wasn't dangerously thrilling, they never need to make a law prohibiting. I'm not good at that type of stuff. Does this come with any just credibility? Is there a woman who looks like me? I either want this one or this one. I love Honorad or Madame Gazelle. This doesn't get me much. This gets me more. This would give me a little bit of gossip, cheap gossip, which I already got cheap gossip. That would not give me gossip. I really want to go with Madame Gazelle. Let me go there. You see Madame Gazelle at the party and decide to approach her, but you notice that she's not alone. There's another woman with her. Madame Gazelle perks up when she sees you approaching. Bonsoir, Yvette. Oh, wow. Look at that face on this woman. Woo! Have you met Joanna de Jardin? I probably said that really horribly wrong, and I apologize. My French is horrible. Not yet, but I'm glad to know. You must know the most interesting people, Madame Gazelle. What have you two been discussing? To be honest, I've never heard of her. Not yet, but I'm glad to know. Glad to now. You must know the most interesting people, Madame Gazelle. You step into the conversation, and Madame Gazelle gives you a hidden smile. Genuine glad to have you company. I am so good at making her happy. She's so intriguing. So, as I was saying before, continues Joanna as she flags down a servant and requests 3 glasses of wine. Oh, we only need 2 of those, says Honorad quietly, but the servant doesn't seem to notice her. Instead, he generously fills 3 glasses and sets them down on a table in front of you. What I saw in Austria when I was there was fascinating. The Holy Roman Emperor has enacted reforms focused on social progress and stability. I'm sure you already know that stability is a necessary part of any growing economy. Joanna doesn't seem to notice, but Honorad isn't paying attention. She's just staring at the wine in front of her, clutching tightly to the glass of water in her hand. What's wrong? Do you not like this particular vintage? No, it's just that Madame Gazelle replies instantly, swallowing hard. I know, let's have a toast. Joanna takes a glass and holds it aloft. How about to cooperation and prosperity? You see Madame Gazelle, and she's reaching for a glass, but her hand is shaking. Choice will increase your peril. I'm not gonna do that. Let's hold off on a toast. I'd rather hear more specifics on what you saw in Vienna. That would help her out. Easy credibility. Hopefully it'll work. What? Of course, we can avoid the pleasantries if you'd just like to focus on the fine details. Honorad looks visibly relieved and moves her wine glass to a faraway table when Joanna isn't looking. I knew she'd be happy with that. I'm like, this will help her. I want to help Honorad. I like her. And she could be a good ally. That's the main reason why I'm doing this. Get an ally. Joanna proceeds to recite an absolutely dizzying list of the exciting and inspiring news coming out of Vienna. It's easy to get caught up in her enthusiasm, and by the end of it, you're practically ready to swear fealty to the Holy Roman Emperor herself. Abruptly, she pulls a pocket watch from her bodice and clucks her tongue. I'm sorry, ladies, but you must excuse me. I have an appointment that I must keep. With that, Joanna departs for a different section of the party. After a long pause, Madame Gazelle says, Thank you, Yvette. I really appreciate your help. Thank you, Madame Gazelle. Don't think about it. It's nothing. What happened there? Are you all right? When people ask, I usually tell them that I just don't like alcohol. She lowers her voice. However, the truth is that I like it too much. When my husband died, I don't remember the month after his funeral. One evening I woke up in the garden, passed out in a flower bed, and realized I had no idea what day it was. That's when I decided I needed to stop. It's not been easy. So thank you. And please keep that knowledge between us. Of course. Of course. Ugh, listen to me. She laughs and rolls her eyes. I'm supposed to be the one who's powerful, cool, and can command. I'll forgive you this time. You can be all those things and still be human. I'll show you a move past it eventually. I'm gonna say you can be all those things and still be human. Thank you. I think I needed to hear that. I'm making all the right choices with her. I don't know why. You and Madame Gazelle chat together for a little while longer before parting ways. While the worst has been avoided, she still looks exhausted by the thought of what could have been. You look around the party, checking to see if there's anything else you can do before the end of the evening. Oh, that was so cool. 13 with her. That was the best. Novelty? We didn't really lose much in the novelty. That was the best. That was so good. 30 Mars 1789. That was fun. I love that. I love that. All right, so I think let's rest for this one. Actually, hmm. Oh, we have to research. I think how bad are we? Exhaustion wise. Does it not tell us right away? I wish it would tell us on this screen though. or on this screen. Something where it would like tell you, oh, con- contravening society's norms, the widowed Honorad has been in mourning for over 2 years. Her vast fortune, secretive tendencies, and the rumors surrounding her romantic predilections have made her a subject of suspicion among Paris's high society, which is why I like her. She is fascinating. So we do have some of these. We do have some rumors we could go sell. I think yes, we're gonna go do that. I don't think I need that one. I think this one's good enough. Oh, you use novel. Oh, I didn't know that. That's what the novelty is. You use novelty. You lose novelty if you wear something too often. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. That's actually really smart. So I'm actually gonna go see if we can sell our stuff. We do have other stuff. We have fishy business. Down by the docks, you run into a certain soldier and widow. They might serve as agreeable company to spend the day with. Oh, Alex and Honorad. Oh, no, I want to do that. Honorad, Ludovico. Turned around, choosing to explore the city. Later in the evening, you happen to come across a certain widow and a certain priest. Does she get around or something? Furnishings. You spot a certain wealthy widow making inquiries with a creative bespoke fortune. What could she be up to? So much with Honorad. I love her. She's so fun. And then, of course, this is researching Marseille. You head to La Place Royale, hoping to track down some information in regards to the mysterious fortune of your hated foe, the Viscountess Marseille de Foix. Cheap, so we can crown, church, military, bourgeoisie, and oh, okay, interesting. I'm actually gonna go sell. Yeah. Let's go do this. Let's go sell what we have. Pierre's office either looks marginally cleaner than Paul, or he's managed to shuffle the mess into differently shaped piles. Honestly, it's hard to tell. You spend a few moments waiting around in the entryway before Pierre arrives, and he seems quite enthused by your presence. Why, if it isn't my newest confidant, please come in. Have you come back with more delicious information, perhaps? You are trying to find someone, no? Where's Armand, and how do you know what I'm looking for him? I'm done trying to find Armand. He can seek me out if he cares so much. What exactly are you talking about? Where's Armand, and how do you know that I'm looking for him? Madame, my suspicions about your search were founded in your newfound notoriety. Suspicions, which you have been so kind as to confirm for me. Pierre favors you with a short and elegant bow. Merci beaucoup. Dang it. As for your fiance's whereabouts, I don't know his exact address, or I would probably be a wealthier man by now. Pierre admits, pausing to examine your reaction. I knew I shouldn't have said anything. However, I happen to have some leads, and I can say that I already like you more than some of the men that are looking for him. However, before I lay it on my terms, I must satisfy my own personal curiosity. How well do you really know your beloved Armand? It's early February, and you take a seat at your usual spot in Le Signy, a small tavern in your hometown. The hood of your cloak is still up, but it's less to do with the snow outside, more to do with the fact that you don't want to talk to anyone else here. After a few minutes of trying to read your book, but failing to really get into it, you hear a set of footsteps approaching your table. Bonjour. Bonjour, Yvette. I hope you weren't waiting too long. Oh, this is Armand. Not at all, Armand. Excellent. This is our last night together for a while, so I want to make sure that it's a memory we'll treasure. Again, I don't have very many male voices, so bear with me. He waves to the barmaid, who brings you a bottle of wine and some glasses, along with a loaf of freshly baked bread that's still steaming when it touches the table. Armand fills your glass first. My father's been talking my ear off about this particular vintage. I hope it's up to your standards. He then fills his own, then raises his glass for a toast. To France, to the General Assembly, but most importantly, to us. The red wine is deep and full-bodied. It smells of leather, blackberries, and cloves. It's some of the best you've had, and you can tell that Armand is enjoying it as well. You spend an hour finishing the bottle together, pausing occasionally to nibble at the bread. All the while, you trade jokes, news from around the village, and simply try to forget that this isn't the last you'll see of each other for months. With the wine finished, Armand pauses to place the bottle on its side, a curious habit he picked up from his father. He then takes a deep breath and waits a moment before saying, "The snow appears to have stopped. Would you like to join me outside? I have something I want to show you." Outside, the night air is brisk. Even the colors in the moonlight sky are cold. It's a stark contrast from the fireside warmth of the tavern. Yet despite the open air, it feels more intimate and personal than the small tavern you've left behind. While I like this Signy as much as the next man, I'd prefer to end our night with something that's just about us, Armand says in a soft, low voice. He turns and holds out his elbow for you to grab onto. Care for a walk? I'd love to. You step in close to him, wrapping your arm around his, before you both wander off into the moonlit night. Favors. You walk along the edge of a lake, the only sound being the whispers of the wind, the sounds of your footfalls, and the steady rhythm of each other's breath. Your head leans on his shoulder. His body feels warm and familiar. The moon is full, the town distant, and it feels like you're the only two people in the entire world. Without a word, Armand leans in towards you, his eyes closed. Well, yeah, let's kiss. Your lips meet his, and a joyful shiver runs through your body. His hand comes up to stroke the side of your face as his other arm hugs you close. You're not sure how long your kiss lasts. Time seems to have lost some of its importance. You pull away from each other and you stare into his eyes. His face is a mixture of excitement and surprise. He whispers to you, I hope every kiss we have is as good as that one. More favor. Armand breathes deep, preparing himself for his next words. It's then that a man stumbles out of the darkness towards you, glancing about himself and trying to catch his breath. Armand, I've been looking everywhere for you, he whispers hoarsely. His accent is foreign and wholly unfamiliar. All you know is that he isn't French, nor is he English. Your town is relatively small, and yet you still don't recognize this man. I'm going to stay silent. Charles, what a surprise, Armand starts, his voice flat and tense. Armand, things are changing faster than we could have imagined, the man called Charles says hurriedly, pressing a small satchel into Armand's hands. In the dim light, you manage to notice that a few papers sticking out of the top of the bag. We all knew tensions were going to keep rising after Bishop Bontefi killed himself, but this... Charles, Armand presses at a louder volume, glancing towards you. Armand, I know this is hard, but France itself is at stake here. Charles continues, oblivious to your presence. We helped guarantee your election for our bailioche, so you could do this for us. You said it yourself. We must. Charles! Armand barks sharply and suddenly. Even the crickets and the birds seem to go silent. Breathing deeply, Armand recomposes himself and gestures in your direction. Charles, have you met my fiancée Yvette Decaux? We were just enjoying our last night together before I left to prepare for the Estates General. Charles' eyes widen, and he seemingly notices you for the first time. Oh, hello, madame. I was just giving your fiancé some important files that he forgot at home. Please excuse my intrusion. Bonne nuit. At that, Charles leaves. You and Armand stare at each other silently for over a minute. What's going on? And are you in trouble? How can I help? Armand exhales and smiles, but there's still an air of tension about him. Not right now, no. It's all very vague at the moment. There's so much going on that I don't want to give you something new to worry about. Still, thank you. Makes me glad to know I still have you on my side. More favor? I promise that I'll explain all of this when it's over. Pierre is staring at you. You must have gotten lost in your thoughts for a moment. Uh, Madame, I was asking, how well do you know your fiancé? I know Armand better than anyone and I know he's a good man. Something's not right with Armand. I just don't feel like I can trust him. Perhaps I don't know him as well as I thought. Pierre notes her confusion and for a moment almost looks sympathetic. Well, Madame, perhaps it's time that you learned as much as you can, which is something I can certainly help with. You see, I'm looking to run a new social piece, something that will capture the imagination of the public. Pierre favors you with a broad, toothy grin. It may also rekindle some old rivalries, so to speak. After all, it's easier to sell a newspaper when there's something to write about. If you bring me gossip related to the military, I'll tell you where to learn more about your estranged Armand. Pierre has asked a favor of you. Sell him specific types of fresh gossip in the allotted time and you'll receive special rewards. You can track these requests in the gossip tab of your journal. Once you get me this gossip, my journalist genius shall handle the rest. Now then, to business. I do have military gossip. I do. Ooh, that's really fresh. I'm going to sell that one. Are you sure you'd like to sell? If you do this, there should be no chance of the public finding out. Okay. Thank you, madame. This is exactly the kind of salacious trash I esteemed. Whatever I was looking for. I'm not going to peddle influence. Yes. And yes. Okay. Okay. That was quite a bit of information. Pierre claps his hands together in delight. Madame, it appears that you have done me a great service with this latest gossip. I can finally launch my most controversial social piece yet. In fact, your contributions have been so great they must be recognized. Madame Ducot, you are no longer a mere gossip monger. Today, you are a journalist. You've reached the rank of journalist at La Trompette du Pipiol. This title itself is meaningless, but it certainly sounds nice. Now, I assume you wish to know more about your beloved Armand? No? Before we get into that, why did you need me specifically to do this? Pierre sighs and mops the sweat from his brow with a severely stained handkerchief. To be honest, madame, I'm in a bit of a tough situation. Newspapers like my own have always existed in one unofficial capacity or another. But with the end of royal censorship, new papers are opening every day. The competition for readership and for new information has become ridiculous. Pierre throws up his hands in exasperation. I can't just print gossip that's been sold to everyone else. My readers expect something unique in these pages, not the same unoriginal tripe bandied about in those lesser papers. He continues, his outrage shockingly sincere. I need you because my other sources have taken their business to less esteemed publications. You have my condolences, Pierre. That sounds difficult. If I'm your only real source, shouldn't I be getting paid more? Pierre scowls at you for a fraction of a second before breaking out into a wide and almost sympathetic grin. Madame, but if only I could, I would pay for your gracious insights with bars of silver and fistfuls of rubies, as that is what they are worth. He gestures to his dilapidated and stained office. However, while the pursuit of truth may make a man virtuous, it does not make him wealthy. The coins I give are all I can spare, as I need all that remains to keep the wheels of my press turning. All the empty liquor bottles laying on the ground make you doubt his honesty a little. You get the feeling that he isn't going to budge on this. But please, enough about such ignoble matters. You are here to learn of your fiancé, no? It may shock you to learn that Armand managed to keep some rather opinionated company, Pierre says with the careful circumspection of someone severely downplaying the seriousness of the situation. While the details of their beliefs have been remarkably difficult to track down, I know two things about their views. The first is that they show an open disdain for their country's current laws and privileges, which make them unwelcome, with the aristocracy supporting the crown. However, they also harbor a strong devotion to the Queen, which alienated them to the nations in the Revolution. There's a studio in the western part of the city, just south of the Seine, where he and some like minded individuals prefer to discuss the proper course for the country. Painters in the front, planning in the back. Pierre starts scribbling on a piece of paper. When he hands it off to you, you find it to be an address. The Guillet Royal raided the studio a month ago and arrested everyone there, Pierre explains. Oh, sorry. The Guillet Royal raided the studio a month ago and arrested everyone there. While supporting the Queen is certainly no crime, something about this group's beliefs was making someone in power quite uncomfortable. The studio's been abandoned ever since. Go there and you might find something that leads you to your Armand. The abandoned studio is now available. Now, before you leave, madame, I hope that you do not forget about me and my humble paper. I still find your social insights valuable, and I'm always willing to pay for anything you can bring to me. I like to think that we've made good business partners, no? But of course, Pierre, this has been a delight. Pierre puts down his snuff box and favors you with a deep and theatrical bow. Now, you flatter me, madame. Bon chance, may God see fit to reunite you with your Armand in great haste. At the mention of God, Pierre makes the sign of the cross, but you're pretty sure he did backwards. Adieu, and may our paths cross again. Okay, so we still have plenty of time to like rest and stuff. It doesn't like tell you up here. I wish it would. All right, so I'm gonna save. We are going to end it here. We've been at 40 minutes. I don't want to keep these too long, but we've made a ally of a widow who is eccentric, and I love her. Otta Rod. Oh, I love her. She's so cool. Madame, what was it? Madame, oh, what was it? Madame Gazelle. I love her. She's so cool. Now we know what Armand looks like now, too. You met your strange fiancé Armand back when you were both living in a small village to the south. currently representing the second estate as part of the Estates General. Armand is witty, politically active, and quite sweet. However, his recent behavior has been odd, to say the least. So, and I also found out recently that these do go down in novelty, so we do have to kind of be careful about that. Anyway, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment if you if you want to talk about anything. Let me know how I'm doing. I would love to do this live and get actual people commenting, but we'll see about that later on. And if you have not subscribed, please feel free to subscribe. I do content like this quite a bit. I have this, I have Noble. I have a couple other things that I'm trying to do. Just playing games that I enjoy and hoping you guys enjoy it too. I thank you guys so much for joining me. We're almost at 100. Keep it going, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you guys are. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye.